Well, Councilor Abraham is online. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I would like to bring to order the budget preparation workshop for the town of Elizabeth. This is our fourth meeting, and the first thing on our agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance. If you will join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Thank you, everyone. We have Councilor Abraham, are you online?
I am here.
Wow, that was loud.
Okay.
We also have Councilor Holly, myself, many of the town staff, and Juan Torres, our clerk treasurer, as well as our assistant clerk, and police chief. Let's see, who else? Lots of folks are here. So the first item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda for this morning?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, Councilor Abraham seconds. And how do you vote? Councilor Abraham?
Aye.
Councilor Holly?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. We have an agenda. So we have gone through now a group of different departments and their wish lists. We still have a few things to do. We've got a couple of people coming back with quotes that we have asked for over the last 3 or 4 sessions. I am told that Mr. Hall will join us if he is available. He was unfortunately called out on an emergency. If he is unable to attend this session, he will attend our next. We also have a young guest who's going to present, and I think if everyone will agree, I think we should start with our young guest.
Oh, one quick question, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Is somebody from the judges court going to present to us at some point?
Mr. Torres has spoken with the judge and has the information that the judge would like to present to council.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Well, would you like to introduce our young guest?
Yes, I will. His name is Eric Platt, and he is going to present on a project he's been working on for a while. He's actually wants a pump track, a bike track out here in Edgewood, and he's not only just saying he wants it, he's actually done some work to get it done. He's fundraised, he's gotten other people involved, and he has a whole presentation. So, Eric, you want to take it away?
Yes. So we've already raised $1,000 through the Dolphin Tank organization and through 4-H. And then here's our presentation for the pump track. The project is by Eric Sisley, check out. Rebecca McMurtry, Colette, and then Savannah McSween, Ismail, Otley, Avia, Isaac Sylvian, and Amanda Benton, and Chantel Law. Alright, New Mexico pump track. Why do we need this? There's not a pump track or jump track within an hour of the community. A pump track is a loop sequence of rollers and berms for bike riders, and it's designed to maximize your momentum so you can ride it through with minimal pedaling. This helps kids to get active, and it brings the family together. And then here's some ideas of what a pump track could be, and then here is the spot where we would like to build it. How will the pump track be used? It will be used to help riders of all skill levels progress and learn. It will be used as a location for riders to ride in their communities and not hours away. And then what will we do? And then in addition, we will promote the health benefits of bicycle safety across the state. So the benefits of a pump track. It strengthens the immune system, it builds air capacity in the lungs, it helps prevent heart disease, increases bone strength, reduces stress, can create a fun and positive atmosphere, all ages and skill levels can participate, improves quality of sleep, and improves range for others. And this is all through bicycle exercise. What will this do for our community? It will increase places families can be together, it will improve quality of health for those who utilize it, and it will increase the economy of the town. If we build a really nice bike park, then people will come from all over to ride our bike park. And that'll help with hotels, we'll buy gas from the gas stations, get food from the restaurants, and all that stuff. On to my next one. So this is what we want in our bike park. We want a pump track for beginners, so just an oval track with some rollers in it just to get started. And then we want a more advanced pump track for experienced riders, so maybe some more berms and turns, and maybe some jumps in the pump track. And then we want some small tabletops. So a tabletop is a jump that it has no gap in it. There's dirt in the middle, so then you can't crash in the gap. And that will be to help some riders who are learning how to jump that are not comfortable jumping over a gap or don't want to do a tall jump. And then we can have some big tabletops for riders who are ready to hit some bigger jumps, but are not ready to jump over a gap yet. And then once the riders are comfortable jumping over a tabletop, then they can start learning how to jump over a gap jump. So then they can start doing some dirt jumps, some smaller dirt jumps, in case they do not want to hit the big dirt jumps yet. And finally, we can have some big dirt jumps for riders who are ready to send big gaps and get lots of air time for tricks. And then there's some other stuff that we'd like to add as well. We can have slope style reps for riders who want to train for competition and also learn tricks. The ramp helps a lot to get more airtime than a dirt lip because it has more pop off of it. And then a foam pit for riders who want to learn tricks but aren't ready to do them into a dirt landing. So it's basically like an airbag that so you can like do a backflip into it and not get hurt at all. And then just once you can land it in the foam pit with your tires flat, then you can do it to a dirt landing, and it helps you get your confidence up, and it helps you to know that you can do the trick. And then the last thing is the dual slamming course, so we can hold races and events. So a dual slamming course is a track that has two lines and they're completely identical, so then you can race to the bottom. And that is our presentation.
All right, thank you very, very much. Thank you.
already raised $1,000 for this track, and he's working with other nonprofits and organizations to help design the track, and could also do some additional fundraising. As you know, we've asked for $200,000 towards this year, and I think we could use the professional help he's lined up and some of our own staff. We could probably get this track done for him and other bike riders. And that's it. If you have any questions, Councilor Abraham sent some information in yesterday that talked about the connection between bike riding and actually improving grades in school. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. We can discuss.
I think we could do some collaboration possibly with USA BMX track development. They do bike races all across the country, actually the world. And my grandson was part of that for a very long time. We went to Phoenix for races and stuff. So Albuquerque has a beautiful, beautiful facility. It's covered, has concession, bathrooms, all that kind of stuff. The one in Phoenix where we went to was an open track. So there's lots of different levels. If you see the information I sent you, the reason we asked for $200,000 was because for about $300,000, you can build a really great track. And I've already talked to the principal over at South Mountain Elementary. She was kind of excited about this. They could store the bikes there. They could ride them back and forth to the track. So I think it's something that our community could really get involved with. This would bring people out from Albuquerque to have a different place to practice. And these kids, and it's not just kids, they have little toddlers who have BMX bikes that don't even have pedals yet. They use them with their feet. And the oldest man who was competing at the time my grandson was 69 years old. So it is a whole range of ages, activities for multiple ages. So I'm very excited to see that there's somebody in our community working on this. And I would love to collaborate with them, and the information I have from USA BMX. And as you know, Councilor Jaramillo, last year, Mr. Smedes had gotten us, some money for this project had it not been vetoed. So there's willing people out there that are looking forward to working on this particular project in different ways. So I think we could make something really awesome and amazing for Edgewood if we all work together.
Yeah, and then another thing, it doesn't just have to be BMX bikes. You can take mountain bikes on it. Like, I have a ton of jumps in my yard, and all I have is a mountain bike. And also, you don't need a $10,000 bike to go and do this track. I've seen people do them on, like, thrift store bikes or Walmart bikes or anything. Like,
Right, that's the great thing about this is it's for all levels, all ages, all for everybody, really.
Eric, can you tell me where the proposed location is?
Yeah. It's right by the soccer field right there where the pavilion is.
Okay.
Venus Park, I think it's called.
So there's already a few little mounds over there that Roger Holden had, and I think James maybe worked with him on it at some point. But it has gotten overgrown, and the track will have to be maintained. We did look into one time at the insurance for it, and it really wasn't terribly expensive. Through USA BMX, and they would even help us come design the track and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what group you guys, was there a group, Carla, that you were working with as well, or just an individual?
It was Eric and the group he's been working with, which is 4-H and RAD.
Okay.
So there's an organization called Rad Trails that Cam Zink, a professional freestyle mountain biker, started. And I'm working with this organization, and they said that they would like to come help plan and build and everything.
Okay. Yeah, I think between all of us, you know, between BMX and that group, I think we could get a track that could be used, you know, for, you know, all levels of competition and stuff like that. If we do it right and work together for mountain bikes and BMX. And that is kind of, you know, like basically what the community wants. Parks, trails, outdoor activities, you know, that is like the essence of Edgewood, kind of.
And one
Open
really quick
space,
question.
outdoor living,
Kind of
healthy activities.
Yes.
I just mentioned, Councilor Abraham, we checked with the self-insurers fund as well, and the cost of insuring it is pretty much what we have right now, so it doesn't increase the insurance cost very much.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what we had found when Roger checked on this, you know, years ago. So Eric, I would very much like to be invited to the next planning meeting that you guys have to see what you guys are doing and actually meet you and see you and talk to your group, because it sounds like you're doing amazing things.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, if I may ask, are you proposing the area? I mean, some of the things I saw here are pretty elaborate. Would that be enough room to do some of the things he's?
I can't hear, I'm sorry, I can't hear whoever's speaking.
It's the chief, I apologize, Council. No, I was just asking, where he's proposing to place this, bike track, is that enough room for some of the proposals that he has, or should we be looking at someplace else that carries that kind of room?
It's Carla, it's enough room to start what he wants to do, and there's enough empty space around it to grow it,
Okay.
but it's not, initially, there's not enough space for all of it, but at least there's room to grow.
Yeah, I don't think you could do a side-by-side slalom there. I don't think there's enough, well,
Downhill.
there's enough slope, but you'd be down into Bachelor Draw, which is not a good thing. So.
Yeah, don't teach kids to ride.
5 acres over by East Venus.
I'm not sure where that is.
We'll show you.
Okay. If it has a slope, that would be the best thing ever. So then we don't have to build a big rolling.
Yeah, that slope is going to be a little bit of a challenge on what we've got available right now.
That's okay. We can make it rolling.
All right. Any more discussion on BMX park? I think the other items that we have talked about for Venus Park is adding more grassy areas and some other improvements. It sounds like we could invest a good deal in our park, which sounds like a grand idea to me. We'll see what all of the numbers look like and bring that back for our next time.
I would also like, I'm sorry, Councilor Jaramillo, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that with the increased use of the area, Councilor Abraham's idea of facilities, restrooms there, I think is important. I think it's more important actually than adding another grassy area.
Mayor Pro Tem, that was actually going to be the comment I was going to make, is we need to get prices for bathrooms out there. So if we can bring that to the next one, what a quote would be to put bathrooms out there. If we're going to, improve this and use this all the time, we really need bathroom facilities.
Well, I think that's definitely a thing that's going to have to be added there. I don't think we're going to have I don't think we're going to have any choice in the very near future if we're going to bring in more activities and more events.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, so real quick with respect to bathrooms, because it is state land, they will require us to have that design stamps, have plans and all that stuff for it, so I don't think we could just do a simple, go get like a Forest Service porta potty and put it in. At least that's been my experience with every other state agency. Any permanent improvements we do out there, they're gonna have to be design stamp plans. I mean, you guys know, like when we did the pavilion, that was another thing that was a requirement from the state. So any permanent structure will probably have to do that. So we can definitely, will the governing body task one of the on-call engineers to come up with some plans for that.
I think we should, I thought we had asked, I thought in the past we had asked for some design for a restroom facility there. I don't know if we have those plans or if we have asked in the past for those plans, but if we haven't, and we have not plans in hand, I think we should move forward with that.
Right.
Yeah. Counselor? Yes?
Yes, there should be plans somewhere. We've been planning that was the first upgrade we were ever going to make to the soccer fields, were to add bathrooms. So there just about has to be somewhere in the record somewhere, quotes for bathrooms and facilities. I'm sure they'll be outdated, but there should have been plans.
We'll take a look and see if we can find those. If they're no longer available or that we never received actual plans, which may have been, then we will move forward and see if we can. It sounds like it would be something the council would be interested in hearing, and we'll bring it back to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I guess we should move on.
One last thing.
Oh, certainly.
I really want to push for mountain bikes too, not just the BMX park. I'm personally a mountain biker, not like trails and stuff. I can mountain bike and do all the jumps that a BMX can.
Okay. Well, I think any bicycle, well, I don't know if you want to put a road bike on there. That might be a little bit tough on it, but, I think anybody with a bicycle who wants to make an attempt at a bicycle park would be welcome.
Yeah, the only thing is you wouldn't want to take a really cheap bike on the big jumps because whenever you land, the stem will snap. That's not weird.
Well,
Yeah,
and that is some of the really, really good things about, the educational portion of some of this stuff is it does help what you're doing and mentorship and all that kind of stuff. And Eric, we will definitely make sure we have some kind of dual track because yes, we have tons of mountain bikers out here. And, I would love someday to see us have, some kind of mountain bike racing out here on an annual basis, like they have the mud run and some of those other things. I think would be the kind of things that would fill up our hotels. So thank you for your work on this and for coming and presenting to us. I think you've got some amazing ideas and absolutely something that our community can use. So thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
I think that's an excellent idea. Whenever young people are interested in something, organizations will often get behind and do some fundraising. And I think that would be something the community could really.
I can't hear whoever's talking.
I think this is Cheryl Hubbard. I think this is an excellent idea. And it does bring people to our town. Anything we can do here in Edgewood that brings people out here to me is a great benefit to the town. And when we get behind young people, I think fundraisers could also be done for this, different organizations with support. Because it's impressive to me that what Eric and his team has done. That's very impressive. And I think as a community, we need to get behind them.
I agree.
Thank you,
All right,
Eric.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Do I have any homework? Anything you guys want me to do for next time?
At this point, it sounds like you've done quite a good bit of homework, but, if you would give us the time and date and place of the next time you're getting together to discuss, that would be helpful so that, maybe one of the counselors or myself can attend.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
I would love to attend because this is something I've been working on for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Counselor?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a very doable project. However, the one thing I would caution you on is watch how many people you bring out here, because you can get over capacity if you're not careful. And if you don't have the capacity now, you certainly won't have it when it's over capacity. So, good work, Councilor Abraham, young man, good work. And I hope you'll continue after you get out of high school to do other great things.
All right, thank you. Thank you all. I think we're going to come back around because we've asked our road manager to bring back some information on a couple of projects that we are interested in and see if we can get some idea of what those projects are going to cost. And I think we were looking at some equipment or some other equipment.
So I was able to get a quote for a new water truck. That quote come in at $140,000, and that would be a Kenworth water truck, 4,000-gallon water truck. I have not gotten back the quote for the actual dump truck yet, but as soon as I get that, I'll be more than happy to make sure you guys get that number. To pave Appaloosa, a 4-inch mat, that would be $146,493. And square H would be $543,395. And those two projects would be able to be completed this year. To chip seal Appaloosa would be $85,000 to $100,000. And to chip seal square H would be $240,000 to $260,000. And those projects, we wouldn't be able to get a chip crew out here until next year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting stuff.
Right, and I would really prefer to do asphalt over chip seal. I think that chip seal is a good product. It's a good way to manage pavement. Just not a real big fan of using it as a road.
Okay. Take that under consideration, Council. Do you have any questions for Chuck?
If we were to do chip seal on all of the roads, how many roads could we get done? If we were going to take the same budget that you're planning on using for paving too?
Chip seal, I could reach out and get that number. I don't think that we would get them all done.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, so one of the other things to keep in mind for that is those two specific roads were relatively easy to do because they wouldn't require any drainage improvements, but other additional roads would require drainage improvements or else whatever we put down will be washed out, and, or has the potential to be washed out in the first storm. So just keep that in mind with other roads.
So what I'm hearing is that the 5 roads that we need to do work on, they would be able to mobilize, they would be able to get to those 5 this year, but these 2 they wouldn't.
But
Is that-
to pave, they would be able to get to them. As far as mobilizing on the other 5 roads, until we pull the trigger and told them to go, I don't know that they would be able to get all 5.
Okay.
But they'd certainly be able to at least start. They may be able to bring up the road to standard and then have to chip seal over the top of them, you know, when it became available. But they would certainly be able to do the repairs and get them prepped and ready for chip seal.
So do you think it is a possibility that we could see the 5 roads that you've designated and Appaloosa and Square H?
I would think that they would be able to mobilize on those, yes.
Okay, so this is a doable project altogether.
I believe so.
Okay.
I can get with them to ask them the time frame. Obviously, once they mobilize, we have all the equipment here.
Right,
So
right.
they would want to do as much as possible.
Yeah, that's why I mean, if they have the equipment here, I mean, it would be in our best interest as well as theirs to go ahead and do the whole.
But absolutely it saves money mobilizing.
Right.
Hey,
Yes.
is the church still on the list of things to be done?
Church is still on the list of things to be done, but it is already sort of in the budget. We've got the bulk of the funds to do that from the state and from other appropriations that we've received. So that is on the list, and it will be done as soon as we possibly can. I don't know what the date is yet.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, so with respect to that, the only outstanding thing we have and we're trying to figure out is with the ARP funding, is if they'll allow us to use that for church. If they will, then we will have all the funding we need to get moving on church right away. But if it's not allowable, then we'll have to figure out what else will need to be done, because we have that capital appropriation. And then the first batch of the ARP funding is going to be approximately $750,000. And then, so we'll get that one. We should be getting that one any day now. And then the second appropriation, I think, comes in 2023 with that. But once again, as with all the federal programs being passed down, we don't really know. I mean, the federal program is very specific as to how it can be used, and so I think the state's still trying to go through and do their own interpretation to let us know. It was a very similar process with the CARES Act funding. The Fed said, here you go, here's some money for COVID, and then we had to wait for the states to come in and say, oh, wait, no, you can't use it for this, or this, here's your list. We don't have that yet from them. I know other municipalities are looking to use it for infrastructure. I know specifically in the bill, roads were not called out, but infrastructure was. The specific infrastructure that was called out was water, wastewater, and broadband. But that's just where we're at with that ARP funding as it sits right now. And as I receive more guidance, I'll forward it on to you as I have been this whole time. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. That's what we're hoping. We could use that funding to finish off church. But until we get a definitive answer, it's still kind of in the air.
So are you saying that we do not have all the funding we need for church, or we do?
As it sits right now, we do not.
Okay, thank you.
Well, sort of.
And also, I guess, since on the topic of roads, we did put in for the local government road fund again this year. And we'll be waiting to hear back from the state to see what, if anything, we were approved for. We should find out early September. I think the tentative date is that first week of September when they're going to be announcing the awards. So we'll know more information in September with respect to that. And that was just for repair and maintenance of existing roads.
Someone in the public had mentioned that the town did not apply for possible funding, that the deadline had passed. Is that true?
I don't know what they were speaking about, but I can tell you we did put in for the local government road fund plan. We did the rating and ranking, we did everything that needed to be done, working with Mr. Cog. So I'm not sure what pot of money the member of the public was speaking about, but to my knowledge, we have put in applications for funding for road repair. Once again, there was, at the meeting, I don't recall hearing any specifics as to what program we did not apply for, but the local government road fund is one that we didn't apply for.
Okay, thank you.
This was a road fund that the closing was March 15th, and we didn't have a meeting until after that, and we had not approved any kind of request. So I think that's possibly what they're talking about. I don't remember now exactly what fund it was. It might have been MAP funding or something. Anyway, the deadline was March 15th. And as of the meeting we had not put in for anything. So I think that's what they're talking about.
Look back at the deadline.
I can't hear. If you people, could you please state your name and speak into the microphone? I'm having a really hard time hearing.
I'm sorry, Councilor Abraham, it's Carla. I stepped out for a phone call, but I'll go back and look at past deadlines and see if we missed one. And I'm sorry, and I missed what you first started to say. What meeting was it where you were told that we missed an application deadline?
Well, the application deadline was March 15th, and we did not have any requests that council approved prior to that. So
I guess I'm just wondering what meeting were you at when you were told that we'd missed a funding application?
Oh, that was Councilor Jaramillo.
Okay.
That was one of the public meetings. I heard in public comment someone mention that, and I was a little surprised. So I just wanted to find out if there really was something that we missed funding. I mean, was this year any different than other years?
There may have been something we missed, but I'll go back and check. I'll look at some of the funding application deadlines.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem Council. So one of the things that we've been working with the COG since we have to work with the COG with all of those programs, and every time they said, okay, we've got this one coming up, we've applied for funding. And now Council, Abraham, to your point, Council hasn't approved anything. So with respect to that, we're just going off of a paving priority list and putting in applications for, like the last time we did local government road fund, we picked 7 of our roads that needed maintenance and repair and put in for them. And then when we were actually awarded, the state picks the road. We don't pick the road. We put in for a whole bunch, and that's when they picked Edgewood 7 and gave us the funding to repair that. So with those requirements, it doesn't require us to get any special resolution or anything for that application. And so what we're going off of is our paving, our paving priority list and basically the conditions of our roads. Our top priority every time we put in has been Frost Road, and for whatever reason, that one's kind of been overlooked. So I think everyone can agree we need to get on top of that road sooner rather than later.
And there are some funding application deadlines coming up next month for CMAQ and TAP, and we have applications in line for both of those. So there are some more road trail funding application deadlines coming up next month.
Well,
Do they need council approval?
They're preliminary applications, so not initially, but I will go back and review the guidelines for them. CMAQ stands for congestion mitigation and is for heavily trafficked roads, and TAP is transportation alternative programs, and the perfect one for that would be construction of Edgewood 7.
Trail,
Right.
Okay.
trails. I think if I might just put the idea in council's mind that since we have repeatedly, now over several years, applied for funding to get Frost done, and Frost is one of the roads on our list of 5, that if we can find the funding for it in our own pocketbook, that we should go ahead and get that done, because at this point, since other roads have been picked over Frost, that tells me that we're probably not going to get Frost if we ask again, or we have asked again, but we probably won't get it. So whatever funding does come back down will go to some other piece of pavement in town. We need to attend to Frost at least. I would hope that we can find the funding for all 7 roads and get them improved, preferably before the cold season hits. That would get us through this winter and on to the next 4 or 5 years before we have to attend to them again. And allow us some leeway to attend to a few other roads down, in the next few years. So think about if we can put that funding towards these roads. We really should, if we can, and I would hope you would agree.
The other thing is, and I know this is a way off, this is Carla again. I understand they're gonna have a lot of capital outlay again this year. It looks like oil prices are gonna do well for the state of New Mexico again. So maybe when you get onto the ICIP, it'd be a good time to put them all on there and request capital outlay funds for them.
Mayor Pro Tem, I would like us to have, I know we have a road paving priority list, but I would like it to be posted somewhere along with, what type of surface are we hoping for it? What type of funding have we applied for in the past and not gotten, or have gotten? How much do we still need? So that we can work in some type of organized manner on getting all of these roads taken care of. If we've applied for Frost, in the last 15 years and haven't gotten anything, then yeah, we need to absolutely look at some other way of funding that. But if some of these roads are new on the priority list, and we're not keeping them in the same order, but moving them around all the time, I don't see that we really have a road paving priority list if they keep shuffling. So I would like to know what each of these roads are going to cost, and what funding do we have, what have we applied for, and what do we still need to do prior to the ICIP process so we know what to put on there. Is that doable?
Pro Tem Council, yes, but I would also say, just because we've applied, there's no guarantee we'll receive funding. The amount that the road's going to need to be fixed is the amount that it is. And the ICIP is not a funding request, it's just a list of here's the projects we'd like to do. We can definitely try and put something together with respect to the roads, but keep in mind funding requests and ICIP are completely 2 different things. One of them is just, here are the projects we've identified that we want to go for, and then when capital outlay time comes and we ask our senator and representatives for funding, that's just one of the criteria. Well, is this on your ICIP? So is this a project the town wants? But yeah, we can work on putting all this together.
And just to kind of clarify that there's a difference between the paving priority list and the needed repairs to our paved roads. The paving priority list was something that was started when the resolution was passed to put together a road standard and to put together a reasonably logical way of surveying our roads and assessing them for the need of pavement. That priority list is discussed annually through P&Z and is brought back to us. And to my knowledge, the list of roads hasn't really changed or hasn't really been reordered in quite a while. I think it is published out there somewhere. I'd have to take a look at the website to see where, but I think it is out there. Part of that process, of course, is the road counter or speed wagon or whatever you want to call it that we have ordered, and I don't think we've received that. We're supposed to receive it, I think, this week. And as you know, the original one has been out of service for quite some time now. But the need for repairs on our roads is a document that I believe we had produced, the council requested and was produced, and you should have copies of. And basically that is what we're going off of to say, well, these are the roads that need the most attention right now. And then we will see, as we attend to those issues, what comes next. But that assessment was for all the roads in town, paved and unpaved. And I believe that is on our website, if I'm not mistaken. So
Well, I know we get it as part of, I know we get it as part of the road report each month. You know, he tells us which roads are fair and poor and need improvement, what he's done. So I really love that we get that information. But I guess I was just maybe a little bit, when you were talking about, you know, we were going to do Appaloosa and Square H and then these other 5 roads, and then maybe Frost needs to have our funding. So I guess I was just a little bit confused as to what are we actually putting in this budget?
Well, Counselor, what has been asked for is 5 roads, which include Frost Road, and those 5 roads would be repaired and chip sealed.
Okay.
What's happening is the asphalt pavement on those roads is degrading, and in some cases, as is the case with Frost, degrading rapidly. A fog and seal, or whatever you want to call it, chip seal, over the top of that pavement will preserve that pavement for at least a few years, if not 5 or perhaps, I don't know, the last time we did it to Frost was quite a while ago. The last time we did it to Dingle was quite a while ago. And it does preserve the road. It does extend its life and smooth it out a little bit, thankfully. So that's the 5 roads that our roads department manager has designated. Those are those 5 roads. Those 5 roads were on the Bohannon-Houston report that we received that you will find online or in one of your previous packets. I think actually it came before us several times. We also have on the paving priority list Appaloosa and Square H, and those have been towards the top of that list for a good number of years. And if we can find it in our budget for pavement, that would be great. If we can't find it in our budget for full paving, then perhaps a chip seal on those roads, as they are both quite heavily traveled and requiring quite a good bit of maintenance. There are several other roads that are very heavily traveled that we need to take a look at as well. So, you know, if we can get some of this maintenance, upgrade, upkeep out of the way, then that will allow us some leeway to begin to work on some of the other issues we have with our roads. So once again, I'm very hopeful you will take a look at what we have and what we can budget, and that we can get some of this work done.
And will we have those numbers before us at the next meeting?
Yes,
We keep getting the same information in our packet that,
Mayor Pro Tem Council, so yes, we will. Unfortunately, since the budget kind of took a backseat, this last go around, since our regular meeting got pushed up to Friday. So I've been working, just trying to get the financials done, the bank rec and all that stuff done, so we can have that on the Friday thing. So my intent for this meeting was to have kind of, here's everyone's asked so far, here's the total amount, here's what we have available, and here's what's in the interim budget, which did not have the opportunity to work on, so I will have that done by the end of this week, get that out. And my intent is we can have a special meeting just on budget next week to go over everything, have another good discussion, and then bring everything forward for final adoption. Because I also are working on end of the year quarterly report and trying to get everything else together for you guys. So kind of just been a little crunch, and I can't do everything all at once, at least not very well. So I opted to just, let's hear everything. We're also waiting for outstanding quotes. I think you're going to hear from James in a minute as well. He received some new bids for some of the equipment he was asking for. So yes, the plan is to compile all of that together and say, here's all the asks from all the different departments, and give that to you all so you guys can have that discussion and decide what you're going to fund above the base operating budget.
Okay, I suppose we can move on to James.
Mayor, can I
Yes.
jump ahead of things?
Sure, one moment, James.
I have a meeting to jump out to, but I have the information I've passed together.
Okay.
It's Carla. So at the last meeting, I think Councilor Jaramillo asked about town manager salaries. So we reached out to municipalities who have a commission manager form of government. And these are the 5 we heard back from. So I will tell you what they compensate their town manager. Starting with the town of Aztec, their manager makes $105,000 a year plus a vehicle allowance. The Clovis, their town manager makes $157,000 a year, $158,000. Alamogordo is searching for one right now, but their range is $100,000 to $160,000. Hobbs, town manager makes $178,000 a year, and Lovington's town manager makes $111,000 a year. Those are the 5 communities that responded back to us. So we also reached out to every clerk and town manager via the municipal league about having in-house engineers, and there was no municipality with a population under 50,000 that had an in-house engineer, but all the big ones do. In some of them, Albuquerque has engineering departments, Rio Rancho, Santa Fe, Las Cruces, and those salaries range from $68,000 a year to $170,000 a year. But I couldn't, no small community responded to me. And by small community, I'm saying no community under 50,000 who responded had a town engineer. The other thing I think I was supposed to gather information on was fiscal year engineering costs, kind of tied to that last one. We spent last year $217,000 with Bohannon Houston and $37,000 with Stouter Miller. Of the amount we spent with Bohannon Houston, $170,000 was reimbursed from the state. It was for projects. And of the amount spent with Stouter Miller, $32,000 is what was reimbursed because that was another project. And finally, I think on the Bachelor Draw project, initially we received $35,000 for design and $316,000 for construction. We have since then received additional funding, and we had $196,000 into design and 623 into construction, $623,000. Of that, the portion funded by the town of Edgewood is $84,000. And I think I mentioned at the last meeting, we would need an additional 50. We have asked DOT for more money, and they said when they did their fiscal year-end wrap-up, if they had additional funds, they would consider putting more funding into this project. But we also asked the council at the last meeting for $50,000. And I think that's all I have to report, right? Did I miss something?
I think that was what all the asks were.
Okay. Any questions about that?
I do, on the bridge, so you're saying that Edgewood has put in 84,000?
Yes, 84,115. I was just kind of rounding up or down to get the whole numbers.
Yeah, I like whole numbers too, as far as these discussions go. But I was just wanting to make sure I heard, because it's really faint. So 84, and then, you're asking for 50,000?
I'm asking for an additional 50,000, but I'm also asking that of NMDOT. And in my conversations with them, they basically said, once we do our fiscal year-end wrap-up, if we have any additional funding, we will make sure to send it your way. So this is one of those asks that we may not need if DOT comes up with the additional funding. I just wanted to put it out there.
Okay. And, the 196 that was paid for design, was that, I mean, it's all taxpayer dollars, right? So, I mean, we need to be conscientious of that, but was that Edgewood's, operational or capital dollars, the 196?
No, it was all TAP funding. It was all part of the grant. So what I'm doing is,
But was it match? Was it our money match, or?
It was a 5% match.
So 5% of the 196 we paid?
Correct, and that's part of that 84,000 total number.
Okay, got it. And so the 84 plus the 50 theoretically, if DOT doesn't come through with that, would that be the entire amount of this bridge that we had to pay out of pocket, so to
That
speak?
would be the entire amount of this bridge that we had to pay out of pocket.
Okay. And Bohannon Houston, I'm hearing you say that they were paid $217,000, but that's not including the bridge, right?
It does. It includes every payment we've made to them in the last fiscal year.
In FY21?
Yes.
Okay. And 196 of the 217 was the bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
196 was the total funding for design that we ended up getting.
Okay. So, and you're saying that 170 and 32 was reimbursed of these engineering fees that we've paid. So does that mean that we really have essentially paid, I mean, maybe $20,000 to engineers in FY21?
No, because some of the funding design for the bridge was done in the prior fiscal year, Counselor. So
Okay.
the two things necessarily tie together. A lot of the design money we spent on the bridge, we spent in FY20.
Okay. All right.
I can get you that information.
Okay. I'm just curious because it seems like the payments to Bohannon Houston have been pretty steady, and it seems like it would be more and on more projects. So
I think it will be more if I extend out to FY20, so I will do that.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, so also keep in mind with payments to Bohannon Houston, Bohannon Houston did win the RFP that was specific to the wastewater treatment plant improvements and design. So they had like the drying bed and all the other improvements that they've been working on, the screens. And that one was required by NMED. So that was not an on-call task order per se. That was NMED required us to go out for bid, and Bohannon Houston did win that RFP for that specific project. But a lot of those payments to Bohannon Houston are also tied specifically to the wastewater improvement project, which is separate from our on-call.
And Councilman, I would guess that almost all of the design on the bridge was done in FY20. So I don't think any of that is reflected in this fiscal year.
Okay. And so the on-call is what you calculated the total to Bohannon Houston. Thank you, Juan, for clearing that up for me because it just wasn't making sense.
No.
No, Council, I was just saying, so we have, I guess we're kind of confusing two different things. So the total cost of Bohannon Houston this last year was the majority of that was probably for the wastewater treatment plant design, and it wasn't part of our normal on-call task orders and stuff.
But what I calculated was all our payments.
Right, well, Carla just pulled together, here's everything we paid to them during the last year. But I just wanted to clarify that it's several different things that are going to that. It wasn't just an on-call agreement. I think our on-call this last year were the roadway design, and then they've done some work for P&Z, for grading drainage, and other types of plan review. I guess what I'm saying is their actual task order work is minimal compared to the big project that they were awarded for wastewater treatment plant, which would probably account for the majority of FY21's payments to Bohannon Houston.
Okay.
Does that make sense, councilors?
Yes, it does. It does. Also on the town manager information that you provided, do we have any which are a little closer to our size?
Is Aztec our site? What is the population of Aztec? Does anyone know? I think that
It might be similar.
Google knows.
I think that might be the one closest to our size. I know the other ones were much larger, but I think Aztec, hold on one second.
And that would make sense because if they're at 105,
Anybody get it? So the population of Aztec, New Mexico is 6,530.
Okay, so that's a little more comparable.
Yeah.
And, you know, our clerk position is close to that. So, okay.
Well, Mayor and Council, keep in mind you'll...
Not working?
Mayor and Council, okay. Also keep in mind, you will still have next form of government will still have to have a clerk, treasurer, and, you know, as well as the manager. The other thing that we did also find is the majority of those positions or other municipalities also paid 100% of insurance, and most of them paid 100% of their PERA costs as well.
Okay, so I guess that's the question for council here is, what are we going to budget for the manager's salary and benefits and possibly a search?
Well, Counselor, there's also a vehicle allowance. I mean, if we're going to allow the manager a vehicle, an official vehicle, we got to consider that as well.
And another thing that we did with the school district contract was we required the superintendents to live in district So that's something that we could require as well, that the town manager live within the town. In which case they wouldn't necessarily have to have a vehicle. Or if they did, maybe a town vehicle.
I'm confused.
You are?
Yeah, you just said that they wouldn't have to have a vehicle, but they would have to have a vehicle?
No, I'm saying that, no, I'm saying that we would be able to, if they lived in town, for example, we could provide them with a town vehicle, but not necessarily an allowance that they go and purchase a lease for a personal vehicle, but it would be a town vehicle that they use, you know,
Right.
in
Well,
town, right?
I would assume, like our police department, that a vehicle for the town manager would be provided by the town as a town maintained vehicle.
Right. And that's what we did at the school district too. We had, you know, superintendent, Dr. Couch, for example, she had a vehicle and it had, you know, Moriarty sticker on it and everything. It was a district, vehicle. But what I'm saying is we don't necessarily need to pay them an allowance, so that they can just go lease their own personal vehicle. That was the difference there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think we should budget? Based on the information that we have currently.
That's a good question. I would say that what Aztec has is fair. I mean, that's a fair salary. I think it could be a little more. I think it could be a little less as well. So that's probably right in the range.
Any other comments, council? So what do we know? What do we know about? Are you considering 100% para and 100% insurance as well?
I wouldn't jump to that conclusion.
I think all of this is part of the negotiation. I think the first thing that we need to do is decide how much are we willing to pay for the search. And then, you know, we can have a ballpark and then some ideas of what we're willing to do and what we aren't, based upon what they ask and their qualifications.
Well, you know, with Councilor Jaramillo's consideration that a person who accepts the position be a resident in the town, how far are we going to search? And because that is in consideration, what are we going to pay for relocation?
Most of with the searches for these executive type positions, they are willing to relocate because that's part of their career. I think it wasn't Los Ranchos, it was Rio Communities, I think, brought someone in from out of state even, and they do. I mean, they move around. They know that that's part of their career process. So, was Steve Shepard recruited outside of the town from outside?
No,
He was here already.
he lived here already.
Steve lives out near Stanley, and he came from the state of New Mexico.
Yeah, he was a state.
Okay.
which is already a local person to the East Mountains.
Yes. I guess, council, we also have a couple potential candidates here. I mean, I guess what would you guys like the governing body to do as well?
I don't know, you mentioned one time, we also really need a finance director.
Who is this?
But this is Ralph Hill.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know how you can incorporate that into the manager.
I believe I've told everyone on this current governing body, and I will tell everyone on the next governing body. I think the town's at the size now where it needs a permanent finance director, not a treasurer. Not, don't separate the clerk treasurer position, but a permanent finance director. So that one who is basically there, accountable for the finances, has the time, the ability, that is their pure focus. I mean, most municipalities our size have something like that, and the ones that have they've separated the clerk from the treasurer. Once again, if it's that position, that treasurer is subject, basically appointed person and subject to politics. And I think for our town, for our community, and this is me speaking as residents of Edgewood, I'd like to see the town have someone permanently in that position, who's accountable, who's not subject to political will, who can actually manage, maintain the finance, and continually stay on it. Because there are many things that I would have liked to have done that I just didn't have the time or the ability to do. Once again, I've already asked. I know I've already spoken to all this current governing body, and I will speak to the next one as well. I think that is a position the town needs, and we're at the size where most municipalities our size have someone in that position.
And I don't
What was Dora's title?
We're not gonna find anybody for the 100.
Swallow that, Mike.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I don't think we'll get anybody left.
Battery died. We'll get you another one. There you go.
Juan, while they're getting that battery, do you know what Dora's position title was?
Dora's position was finance specialist, but essentially Dora's position is, which is now Amanda's position, is kind of a catch-all. So it's accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll clerk. It's all of those positions combined into one.
Mr. Hill, go ahead, please.
Ralph Hill. No, I don't think we'll find anybody for around the 100,000 range. It's going to be more, especially with all the benefits you're talking about. I don't know, just looking at Raton, they're operating without I don't know how they're doing it without a manager. They're just running it with the commission. Maybe we could just be on a permanent search.
That's how we are for a wastewater operator.
Go ahead, Mr. Ring.
Chuck Reed, Mayor Pro Tem Council. I think the sooner you can get to work on this, the better off. But if Raton is doing without a manager, I highly recommend doing without a manager. We can get it. And people who strike their head should be man enough to stand up and say, why not?
Anyone else?
Sorry, Mr. Ring, I didn't understand what you meant by that. What do you mean?
It was for a member of the audience who struck his head when I made my statement. I figured it'd be good if he could explain why he struck his head.
Okay. Somebody in the audience?
He's not going to rise to the occasion, so it was meant as a joke anyway.
Okay. Who is in the audience, by the way? Who do we have there today?
got, Mr. Ring, we've got Mr. Hill, we've got, Mr. Bassett, and we've got Ms. Hubbard.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hill, I do think that that's absolutely accurate that with benefits, of course, the number would have to be much higher to be budgeted for. And that goes just for, all the employees. That's just something that they calculate in. As far as the search goes, I think it would probably be wise to add in a certain amount for advertisement and search. I mean, just to be conservative, I would say budgeting 20,000. It probably wouldn't take that though. I'm just saying to be conservative. In my experience, the searches can take anywhere from, 3,500 on up to, in the teens. And then the advertising that comes with that, you have to kind of cast a wide net if that's what the commission wants to do. So I would say as far as the search, budgeting 20 would be good and for advertising. And then it may, like I said, it may not even take that much. We may find good candidates close to home that we could start off with. And, then that would just be budget that's not used. But I would hate to be short on budget. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Councilor Jaramillo and other councilors, I would hope that you would first consider, honestly, staff and the people you have working for you now who have done an excellent job for you. So if you're going to look locally.
Yes, absolutely. I think that, looking closer to home would include whoever is already serving the town as far as putting their name in the hat. So.
So we're saying 20,000 for a search, and are we gonna float a range for salary and a possible range for perks and a possible range for benefits, or are we just gonna leave it at where we're at right now? And it's kind of if we're gonna put it in the budget, we kind of need to know a number or some kind of an idea of where we're going with it.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, so I can kind of just pull up and just say, like I said, the 105 range, just say here's what, the healthcare is going to be kind of set in stone. It's town's portion plus the employee portion. Budgeting wise, and I'm assuming they have a family, but it would only be cheaper if they didn't, if they got insurance that way. And then I can, kind of project out the para based upon that as well. Just bring that forward for the next one for you.
Okay. Does that sound reasonable, council?
Mm-hmm. I think so. And just granted, changes can be made later with budget adjustments if need be.
All righty. So now we are back to James.
Okay. This is James with maintenance. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Barely.
Okay. I got prices on tractors and a few things for you. 6,330 tractor was around 60,000 with the loader. And then I got a price on a wood chipper for out at the wastewater plant where we could chip all the branches and stuff out there, and it'll run about 8,000. It's a PTO run chipper, so it would actually work off the tractor that we're talking about. I've got a price on a dump trailer and a 14-foot flatbed for events. The flatbed runs about 5,000. The dump trailer runs about 1,100. 11,000, sorry. We was also talking about a building for the Venus Park, a storage building. For a metal building with concrete, it runs about 19.5. That's about all I got right now.
And that's a steel building?
Steel building
Steel building on a concrete pad?
with a roller door, yes.
Where were you thinking about putting that on Venus Park?
That we haven't really discussed. It looks like we've got a lot of activity going in at Venus Park, so we would have to probably adjust.
Kind of why I asked. Especially if we're putting the concrete slab down, that's not gonna be easily moved.
Not gonna be easily moved. I'm kind of wondering if we could incorporate bathrooms in with that building, since we're talking about putting bathrooms in.
An interesting thought.
Well, I guess the mayor council, with respect to bathrooms, are you wanting something with its own septic running water, or you just want, once again, like more, permanent porta potty that has to be pumped out weekly?
I would like running water.
We'll look into what it's gonna take with plumbing.
Thank you.
That's all you have?
Yep.
Okay, so we now have numbers on tractor, chipper, flatbed, dump trailer, and, a small building. Do you have the size of that building?
20 by 20.
20 by 20?
What
Thank you.
about including the maintenance costs?
Say that again,
There's
please?
gonna be ongoing maintenance costs for that building, like toilet paper,
Oh, well, we don't,
that all gonna.
We're not gonna-
Factor in
we're gonna have to, but we need to know how much it's gonna cost to build it first.
that? Well, it should be included in the cost.
You know, that's a total cost of ownership idea, but, we need a cost of construction first. Once we get it built, then we can figure out how much it's gonna cost for toilet paper.
That was Andrea Coleman speaking.
Mayor Pro Tem, council, just, like to also let you know, when I spoke with the judge, he pretty much would like, his budget the way as is just fine, with the addition of $6,000. So, he and the alternate judge are going to be attending a conference this year, and, he is also going to send his clerk and their court administrator and court clerk to a conference as well, so he would request $1,500 per person. So just an additional $6,000 there. With respect to employee raises, he said he would like to see them, and he would just like to be included on whatever the governing body decides for all other employees.
Thank you for checking with him. That reminds me also of the topic of the commissioners. I'm not sure what is kind of standard out there, but that might be something to check into also. Since we won't have a mayor, well, I guess we would have a mayor, but just not an executive, just more for ceremonial purposes. What exactly do we want to do with commissioners' pay? I suppose the mayor still would have, extra duties that the other commissioners wouldn't. But I'm just not sure if we wanted to leave it the way it is now or increase it, or what we need to do there with the change.
Mr. Ring?
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem and council, I think it'd be a little premature to be thinking about raises for the commissioners now. Maybe some conflict between what they're drawing now and what they can draw under the commission manager form of government until they've served a certain length of time.
What were you saying about a certain length of time? I didn't catch that.
I think there may be a conflict as to whether or not you can raise your salaries until after you serve out the current salaries that have been granted.
But what do we do for the commissioner's salary for the future, I guess is what I'm asking. Because right now it's in the form of mayor council. And so I'm just wondering, you know, do we leave the salaries the same? Do we increase them? Do we decrease them? I mean, you know, I'm just wondering what needs to be done with that.
My thought on that was we decrease the mayor salary and make it more in line with what counselors are currently making. So that all 5 of them would earn the same.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, with respect to that, I do think we should probably check with legal on that. And the only reason I say that is I know like right now, if we weren't changing the form of government, if you all decided to change your rate of compensation, it wouldn't take effect until after the next election, and then the next group, you know, once they term out, and basically until the current governing body that decided on it would essentially be termed out and back in office. But I don't know how that works, switching form of government now where everyone's up. So to be safe, I mean, if that's something you really want to do, we could definitely ask legal on that one to see how do we set that, can we even set that? Because like I said, it really doesn't speak to that, you know, in the municipal code other than just the current governing body can't change their own salary until they've been termed out.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that it would be better for us to change it now so that everybody's aware of what the amount is going into the election. So that may need to be a question, maybe some homework as to what other commissions do. And there will be additional duties for the mayor. So I think I've seen higher pay for the mayor, but I don't know that, you know, if it's that big of a difference.
Yeah, I don't think it should be what we're doing now because they will have additional duties, but they also only serve 2 years at a time, you know, then they have to be replaced. So, you know, that's going to be a kind of a floating position every 2 years. So maybe they make 6, the mayor makes 6 and we make 4 and continue on with that. And then if the next commission wants to change it for the next term, then they could, you know, look at that. But I think we do need to look at the legality of it and what other communities are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. Is there anyone else around the table? Andrea, do you have anything?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Go right ahead.
I know we hadn't talked much about youth activities, and I have spoken to Councilor Hawley. We had not spoken much about the youth activities, and I have spoken to Chief Sanchez about an idea that he had proposed about a junior police academy, and I'd like him to share that with the group now.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Junior Police Academy is what I'm proposing to do. It's going to be a 2-week event running from ages 9 to 15. That's still to be changed, but that's a good prime age for some of the things that we like to cover. Some of the topics we'd like to cover is basic investigative skills, gun safety, social media safety, anti-bullying, first aid to include CPR, fingerprinting, and additional topics they come up to see, move on from there. One of the main goals of this is to teach kids the skills to become a police officer and the role police play in their community. As a police officer, as a community member, as far as, you know, making a phone call to seeing something suspicious or anything of that nature. And, you know, basic skills on just being able to identify, you know, like clothing or height, weight, that type of thing. And I think it's just been fun for the department and for the kids. I mean, I think it would just, in addition to the community of what we could offer them.
You're cutting, Chief, you're cutting in and out.
Okay, I'm about to swallow the mic, so if I'm screaming anyways here, I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then some of the things that we will, and we'll do conditioning and discipline. Conditioning because, especially going to the police academy, it's very much required. And then, discipline as far as, being able to follow orders, that type of thing. And one of the examples that I put down is like learning how to march. Again, at the police academy, it's something that you do a lot. So, you know, I mean, and we'll make it fun. It's not going to be, you know, all military style, but, there is, you know, as law enforcement is paramilitary anyway. And then, what some of the purchases that we're going to need to do is, we'll provide binders with activities in the binder for the kids to do, and, you know, to be able to take notes. It's not going to be lengthy because starting at the ages of 9, they're developing their skills, the writing skills, stuff like that. So it's not going to be overly. And then t-shirts. We like to make sure that we provide each cadet a t-shirt that they can take pride in wearing, and it'll be theirs at the end of the event. Theirs to keep. And then another thing that will run into cost is we'd like to provide lunches for them daily. So we aren't trying to, people leaving, coming back, some don't come back. If we provide the lunches and make it a fun event, we'll keep them there and be able to do it, keeping the kids there. And then at the end of everything, as a reward to them, is maybe take them to an amusement park like Quest or Eco Family Fun Center or main event. Just something for the kids to, you know, blow a little steam, have a little fun. We can just have a good time. And estimated cost for that is going to run about $5,000 per class. Not doing this before, that's my best guess. Maybe less, maybe more, but that's my best guess at this point.
How many classes are you proposing?
Well, right now, one. Of course, we want to see how it goes. I mean, I would hope more in the long term, but see the interest we get. You know, I'm only looking at maybe 10 to 15 students at max at a time. That's just because they're a little bit easier to manage that many kids. But right now, we're not looking at, I would say, for the end of at least this calendar year, I'd like to do 2. Once, maybe, I'd like to try and do one, maybe before school starts. That's kind of pushing it. But at least sometime during it, if we have to, we can also move into an afternoon school project and do it that way. And, you know, give the kids something to do after school also. Maybe do Christmas break, spring break, anything of that nature.
Chief, how quickly can you pull this together?
As quickly as I possibly can.
No, I mean, in all reality,
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, I would.
Council, what I would recommend is that we ask the chief to come with his necessaries and dollar amounts, and that we do a budget adjustment in this budget year and get this program going. And then budget for next year as well.
You realize school starts in 3 weeks, right?
That's why I'm saying we should do this now.
Yes, ma'am, I do. Very well.
I did want to, Counselor Holly, was that all you had on youth programs before I jump in?
No, I do want to thank Chief. I think this is a great idea. As you know, I attended the first police academy that Edgewood offered, and I thought it was so beneficial. And I think this is a great community policing opportunity. So thank you, Chief, for your proposal.
And can I add on that one thing? I haven't told any of y'all, but from the department I came from, I started what's called a Scholastic Assistance Police Academy, where we actually went into the schools during school time. They allocated us time for that, just to go in there and you get a little bit more in depth to the high school level. Actually gets kids ready to, if they want to pursue field and criminal justice, whether it be a lawyer, police officer, anything along those lines. And that is something I want to approach the school district for in order to bring it here to Moriarty School District. But that being said, it'll be on a much larger scale because most of the schools in Moriarty School District are not in Moriarty, especially our one high school is in Moriarty. But there was a lot of benefits that came from it. We got a lot of kids who joined law enforcement, became attorneys, became CSIs, so many things, and it really paid off and brought kids into a direction, into a career that it really paid off for them in the long run. And it was not a huge cost to the department.
That is really great. Thank you. And we do have high schoolers at EVCA as well. So that's something locally here that could be done too.
Yes.
Counselor Holly, did you have other
Yes,
comments on the youth programs? Okay.
Was that it, Chief?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. That's all it, Emily.
No,
I also spoke to our librarian, Andrea Corbin, and asked her to come with some suggestions. Andrea?
No, I'm loud enough normally, but, you know, girl could always use some extra help. Good morning. This is Andrea Corbin speaking. I just wanted to present a couple of ideas about some youth programming. I hope I'm not kind of speaking for the police department, but I kind of talked to the chief about getting a larger screen. They just replaced their sound system, and I think they need an upgrade on their screen for their movie night because they're pretty popular. And I did a quick price search. What height did you say your current screen is?
To be honest, I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably 10 feet full inputted.
It's pretty small.
Right, yeah.
So I'm thinking on a larger scale, and then being able to use it in the off season, perhaps in collaboration with the school district in the gym. And that way you can get more people interested and have more movie showings, especially during the winter time when everybody's kind of hunkered down and they're a little bit bored. You might be able to use the gym. So I found some good prices. The highest end is a 40-foot screen.
Wow.
at $2,000. It's inflatable, and the fan comes with it, the stakes, everything. So that's the high-end one, and that would be really cool, but I don't know if it would fit in the gym. But all of these can be 40 foot
Wide.
wide.
Okay.
Or no, wait, on the diagonal, like a,
Oh, 40
like
feet
a,
diagonal.
sorry, not high, on the diagonal. Like a regular TV, sorry. Yeah, sorry. There's a 30-foot one on the diagonal for $800, a 20-foot for $300, and a 16-foot for $200. So those are pretty affordable prices. If you want to go super duper fancy, that can cost you about 17 grand, but we're not going to go there. The other thing that I was proposing,
Actually, Andrea,
Yes.
really quick, so with respect to the movies, just keep in mind right now, we're paying approximately $400, $450 per license per movie.
yes,
And I do like the idea of expanding that program and having it in the gym, like during the winter and stuff. It's just nice to have something for the kids to do. But also, along with the screen, we would also need to make sure we allocate funding for the license.
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. But that's doable too, and I think we would get a really big turnout because
because there's not a ton of programming going on during the wintertime. The other thing I was thinking about is outsourcing a computer coding program. So there are companies that offer computer coding for any age, kindergarten all the way up to teenagers. And I looked at a couple of different companies that facilitate these different classes. Minecraft, Scratch, these are all computer coding programs that get kids into this computer coding mode and get them kind of ready for STEM-based kind of careers. And that would be helping them to understand how to code, and then if they really, really liked it, then maybe they might be able to pursue that in a career, and we can get more kids interested in STEM. There's a lot of opportunities later on down the road. And the kids really like coding, but I don't know how to do any coding. So this would be something that we would partner, or not partner with, but pay the fees and do the coding with an outside facilitator. So I looked at one. We can do a computer coding program for 1 hour for a full week. So it would be like a camp, a coding camp. And it would be $195 per kid for 10 kids. And I would tailor it towards tweens. So kids from like about 5th grade to about 8th grade. And that is something that would be easily done. So I'm thinking about 10 Chromebooks would be best, because I don't want to tie up our computer lab. And we could, like the chief was suggesting, offer some of these workshops or camps for the kids during Christmas break, during summer break, during, what's the other break? Spring break. Fall break. And then that way it gives the kids a chance to do something. That's also an indoor good activity we could use. We could set everything up in the activities room, set all the Chromebooks up, and they can run off the Wi-Fi. So we don't have to have any special software installed on the Chromebooks. They merely need to have internet access or Wi-Fi access. And that would probably be about $7,000 for that, but we would reuse the Chromebooks and we could offer more than one workshop during the year. So that's something that would be pretty fun, I think, and a lot of kids would be interested in that. There's some other things too that we could do. I've always kind of entertained the idea of putting together activity bags that people could not rent, but borrow with their library card and go play out on the playground or in the park. So some of these activity bags would include a basketball, soccer ball. It's like a mesh bag, you know, like those gym bags that the gym teacher had. We could make them themed. Maybe one's a kickball bag, maybe one's a meditation bag where we have a little yoga mat in with instructions, or rules of the game. We could put like a book in there too, or a little binder so they know how to play games. And then there's some other activity bags we could do, like one could have kites in it, and they could go fly kites. So that would reinforce outdoor activity, and they wouldn't have to buy the special equipment or furnish their equipment. And if they wanted to, they could keep it for a week, or they can go take it outside. We'll loan it to them from the library using their card. They can take it outside and then come back in. We'll check it back in. So I thought those would be pretty fun. We do need to revamp our learning backpacks. About 2014, 2015, we received a large amount of funding from the New Mexico State Library as part of the STEM to Read program and put together a series of themed backpacks full of learning manipulative and resources that the kids and families can take home to play with the items, learn with the items that are in the bag together with their parents or other family members. But they're well loved and well used, and we need to replace the backpacks, the actual backpacks themselves, and some of the materials in there. So, going back to the activity bags, that would be about $1,000 for 8 to 10 bags. That might be a little bit high. To revamp the learning backpacks, it would be about $1,000. A lot of the things I have to special order from an environmental supply. So like with the bird backpack, I might have to reorder some of the bird skulls, the replicas. And we've got like owl pellets, all that's like a natural supply, sciencey type place. And they're really high quality, good items, but with wear and tear, things break and I can't patch them up anymore. And we've also got other backpacks having to do with dinosaurs, fossils, New Mexico animals, what else? Measurements. I don't remember the other one, but we've got a series of these backpacks that circulate pretty regularly. Another thing that we would love to keep doing that will support literacy, especially in youth, is do ongoing reading challenges. Not just have a summer reading program, but continue to reward and promote reading within the community's youth by continuing on by using the Beanstack subscription. So we were, I think, about one of, 5 libraries in the state of New Mexico that were chosen to pilot this, I don't know what you would call it, like a platform, a digital platform to run summer reading programs, and it's called Beanstack. So this was funded by the state library and the federal government, and we were lucky enough to be chosen as one of the libraries, and it's really successful. And people really like it. It's easier for kids to get their reading done, especially that because it's on an app, but we've tailored it so that the kids can participate offline if they don't have access to internet or a smart device or a desktop at home. So we would always tailor it to where people can participate offline. But I'd like to continue the subscription with Beanstack so we can continue encouraging reading and incentivizing kids through the Beanstack subscription, that online platform for reading. It has a lot of potential. And so we could continue the reading through the school year and through the winter months as well. There are other things that need to be kind of replaced or revamped. Our board games are well loved. I'd like to add to those. We don't circulate them. It's merely for the kids when they come into the library, they can go grab a board game and go play, or puzzles or whatever, and then put them back, and then the next person can use them. We can circulate them if the public wants to, but it's a little bit easier to keep them in library because checking in and checking out, there's a lot of bits and pieces to keep track of. I think it would be really neat to set up some gaming for our teens and tweens. I know we've talked about this before, but I've already, we already have 3 gaming systems. I have 2 Wii's, 2 huge boxes of games that go with the Wii's, and they're old gaming systems, but I think they're still relevant. Kids like playing video games. And what was the other gaming system? A Nintendo Switch. And so it would be really neat if we could have gaming for the kids. That could be another passive programming that they could come in and use in the library. and it would give them a chance to kind of, be able to hang out with one another, socialize with one another, but they can use without interrupting the rest of the library. And the way I would do that is either get a flat screen TV or a projector that we can hang from the ceiling and project on one of the walls, and have gaming chairs that have Bluetooth sound. So there are floor chairs that are almost like rocking chairs, but they have Bluetooth sound built into the chairs. And while they're gaming, it's not going to be broadcast all over the library. It'll just be broadcast at the chairs that they're sitting in. So there are other libraries that do that, and we could potentially, with those, with the screen that Chief, if the police department wants to use that, or we could use it too, we could set up a gaming tournament in the gym. So we could use the projector to project stuff on the wall, or you can use that big screen and do a gaming tournament, because we have a couple of different gaming systems that were donated. The other things I was thinking about is we could do a maker cart, and that's what we call passive programming, where it doesn't require someone to constantly run it. The maker cart would literally be a cart that we prepare with a certain craft or activity, and the kids, and directions, and then the kids can go up and get the materials from the cart and make whatever they want to make, whatever the theme is. So for instance, if we're doing a fiber craft that day, or making friendship bracelets, that cart would have the directions, probably a little picture, and how they can make their own friendship bracelets while they spend their time in the library. So these are little activities that are relatively cheap to do. The only thing is the cart would be the biggest cost, because we would use household items to do the activities. And some of them would be STEM-based, some of them would be crafting and art. But that's another opportunity that wouldn't require someone to lead the activity. They could do it on their own. One more idea is I've been wanting to do a wall, I know, I'm sorry, I'm going on and on. I've been wanting to do a wall mural in the solar hallway.
Not the local sport.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any dollar amounts associated with these last 3 days?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So the Beanstack subscription, I do not have a dollar amount for. The replacing the board games, that would probably be $200 to $300. The gaming for the tweens, I don't have an exact amount, but that would probably be about $1,000, because we would need to pay for the locking cabinet. We would need, if there is a TV we're purchasing, I have a TV, it just doesn't have any sound, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So we would probably have to figure out what size TV we want, but I would prefer to have a projector, because we can literally hang it from the ceiling and don't have to and don't have to mount anything on the wall or install electricity to run the TV. A projector would be easier, but I don't know how much those cost. I didn't have a price on that. Do you recall how much those ones cost? You're in the council chambers?
$1,300.
Okay, so doing the 2 gaming chairs, the projector, the locking cabinet to keep the games and the gaming equipment, that would probably be about $3,000. Did I talk about the maker cart yet? Okay, sorry. Let's see, what else did we talk about? We talked about the learning backpack and the wall mural. Oh, the wall mural is the next one. And so did I cover all the prices that they were asking for? The cart, the maker cart. The maker cart. So I could either make our cart by building it and putting it on casters, which would be pretty simple to do. I would just get the plywood and put it together. Or I could order one that we already kind of have similar in the kids area that holds a lot of the manipulatives. That was about $800. And it came with all the little cubbies. and it already has the wheels on the bottom. And that would be a good investment to have that, if you decided to. So the very last thing, and then I'll be quiet, thank you for hanging in there with me. I've always wanted to do a community wall mural in the solar hallway, the big white wall. And we call it the solar hallway because it has a huge thing of windows shining right in there. And the way the wall mural would work is we would come up with the design ourselves and paint the design in black and white. So it's almost like a huge adult coloring page. And we would provide, you don't have nobody who participates has to have any painting experience. They don't have to know about art or anything like that. They would literally just be coloring in the line with paint. And the way we would do that is we would come up with a design and paint the design black and white on the wall. And then we would invite people to come in maybe throughout the week. Whenever they can, we'll just kick it off on a Saturday and then see how much we can get done on a Saturday. And then they can come in, we'll have aprons and socks. We'll have, it almost looks like a little bingo dabber or dauber, pre-filled with bright colored paint. And all they have to do is put on their apron. We'll probably have little booties so they don't get paint on their shoes. And we'll have the floors covered in plastic. And they literally would just pick up all these pre-filled paint dauber thingamajigs and color in the line. And then that would be a really fun community project. You don't have to have any special skills. And if you're super duper short, you can color all the stuff on the bottom. I'll have safety step stools so kids can get up and paint a little bit higher. So that would probably be about $400 to $600, including the plastic, all the paint daubers, the little booties, the aprons, and the smocks. And then I was thinking maybe every 5 years or so, we paint over that with white and begin again and have a new community mural. So anyway, those are my ideas. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Corbin. I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to add to our discussion today?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Hello?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to add to the discussion on youth programs. Counselor Holly was done. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Andrea, for presenting your ideas. I always enjoy hearing them and your enthusiasm and love for working with kids. A couple of years ago, you presented to us a lot of great ideas too. When I talked to Carla about this, and I know she had to step out again for a meeting, right? She's in a meeting now?
That's correct.
Okay, so I was kind of delaying this until, we could talk with Carla, but I'll just go ahead and tell you guys what Carla and I thought would be a good plan for the youth program money. First of all, a 6-week GED program that she estimated would take 16 to 18,000. I think it may be able to be a little less than that, but my suggestion would be to budget for 15. Library programs, such as everything that Andrea has been talking about, allocate 10,000 for extra equipment and activities for youth and community. And I'm hearing a lot of good equipment and things that either need to be replaced or could be added for great programs. Then there were a number of other areas that we both thought would be pretty interesting to add, such as the programs that the Route 66 Alliance does, art programs. Andrea and Carla and I had talked about the job shadowing program that the chamber could organize for us. The Junior Police Academy, of course, that's a great one. I think 5,000 is definitely doable for that. The Busy Bees quilting program during, actually, summer's almost over, but last summer they did provide that, so I'm sure it's something that they could continue. So things like specific workshops, maybe something with STEM in coordination with EVCA. So those were our thoughts, and I think that those are all very worthwhile, goals and projects for the youth and the community. So the biggest two being the GED program that's never gotten off the ground yet, and then adding 10,000 for the library equipment and programming, and then from there it would be just the individual workshops and academies and art programs, etc. So those were Carla and I's thoughts, and just wanted to leave you guys with that. I do have to run into an audit entrance conference for one of our clients. But if you're still on the meeting, I'll jump right back on when I'm done with this entrance conference. So.
Okay, Counselor, I think we've gone around the room, and if everyone concurs, I think we can adjourn this meeting for.
Wait. I would, this is Counselor Abraham, and I would like to earmark at least 5,000 of that youth and programming money toward the BMX mountain bike track project. I think, while there's been a lot of good ideas put out and forth and everything else, that is one that I think is the most important. It gets kids out, active, exercising, and, I think that is one of the most important things. I love the GED program too. I think that's another really relevant program. I like the Junior Police Academy idea. I don't know that we could get it pulled together this quickly. I would rather have something very organized and very successful the first time, rather than rushed. And, I like the arts idea, the replacing some of the things at the library. I like the Busy Bee quilting idea. I think there's a lot of good ideas, but I do want to make sure that we put money for the track.
Thanks, Counselor Abraham. I think that's probably doable. I agree. And just listening to all the possibilities, it's better to have them out and about and doing things other than screen time. So anything that we can do for toward that goal would be good too. But if no one else has comments, I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second. We have a motion and second to adjourn. Council, how do you vote?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Have a good afternoon.